Welcome. And today we'll dive into the stories and reactions to the post from DColic19 titled, "We're having a sixth kid we can't afford, so we expect you to give us your college fund." Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his pen so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. Oh boy, let's get ready for some stories. We're having a sixth kid we can't afford, so we expect you to give us your college fund. I am 19, and my parents' second child. I have 3 brothers, 21, 13 and 7. And a sister, 16. We grew up poor and our parents were often dependent on financial help from relatives, friends, etc. for raising us. This is because even though my dad has a mediocre job and my mom doesn't work, they just kept on popping out one kid after another. My parents are very religious and believe that children are a gift from God. Personally, I think that's total BS. My parents' reproductive choices wouldn't bother me if it hadn't caused mine and my siblings' lives to turn to poop. While growing up, we never had new clothes or toys. We had to accept handouts from family members who were better off. We never went out or did anything fun. To top it off, we were well aware that the rest of the family looked down on us for constantly asking for handouts. Now, my older brother and I have managed to get into good colleges, and are looking forward to a future that would be better than our parents' lives. He and I were staying at our parents' place for a while due to the COVID-19 lockdown. One morning, my parents called all 5 of us into the living room. Mom said she had great news. The smile that was forming on my face died a quick death when she said we're pregnant. I lost my temper. I asked them how they could be so stupid and irresponsible. Do they not have enough financial troubles already that they have to bring in another mouth to feed? My older brother tried to calm me down, but I was livid. After a lifetime of scarcity because of my parents' stupidity, they still hadn't learned their lesson. I asked them how they planned to provide for the kid. My dad told me I would have to give up the money our great uncle had left me. He had left all 5 of us some money which only we could access when we turned 18. I said hell no. That money would help pay for my college expenses. He called me selfish for not being there for the family. I told them if they couldn't provide for the kid, they should get an abortion. My mom started crying and called me a heartless monster. Dad told me he was disgusted with me. I told them there was no way I was going to pay for their stupidity and the only thing I would be willing to pay for is a termination. What I was really worried about was my siblings' lives getting even worse. My older brother and I have escaped our parents' clutches, but the others, especially my younger sister, will be expected to help take care of this baby. No teenager deserves to have their adolescence ruined by diapers, a screaming baby. I know what it's like, as I had to go through that. It was expected of me to be an unpaid nanny to my younger brothers and sister. My older brother could go out with his friends and have fun, but I had to stay home and help give baths and feed the toddlers. I decided to get some family members involved so they could talk some sense into my parents. I called my mom's maternal cousin. She's one of my favorite people. When I told her that mom and dad were having another kid, she reacted with, "What? Again?" I told her everything and how they expected me to hand over my inheritance. She said she was going to speak to my parents and told me not to sign over anything. I promised her I wouldn't, of course I won't. I also called 2 of my first cousins, one of whom is an accountant, so she could explain to my parents how much of a financial liability this baby is going to be and try to convince them to either abort or give it up for adoption. I moved out of my parents' home a few days ago. I was only going to stay there till the lockdown was relaxed, but I just can't bear to listen to my mom's nagging about how this baby is a blessing and that I want to kill it. I've moved into a friend's basement for a minimal rent. My mom's cousin paid them a visit about a week ago and tried to tell them they weren't doing this child any favors by bringing it into a life of poverty. My mom was very rude to my aunt and told her that a woman who chose to remain barren will never understand a mother's love. My aunt never wanted kids nor had any. One of the reasons she's my fave. My dad told her to get out. Aunt told me there was nothing she could do, but she did try. I didn't blame her. The cousin tried to explain the economic impact this kid would have and my mom cried about how everyone was trying to take away her baby. WTF. The intervention didn't do poop. So now I've decided to cut contact with my parents. I just can't watch my family slide further and further into a hellhole. I'll be maintaining contact with my sister, 16, just to make sure my parents can't brainwash her. My older brother is going to stay in touch with all of them, which is a good thing as he can act as a link between me and the other siblings if my parents ever forbid them from talking to me. Otherwise, I'm done with these people. Edit, I want to thank all of you for your kind and supportive comments and for the awards as well. What are your thoughts on Colic 19 story? Please share in the comments below. Now let's go on to hear how some Reddit members reacted to this story. Look off to Draw 34 reacted with, I applaud you. You don't owe them your college fund. They made their bed, they can lay in it. You might want to discuss with your siblings about it signing anything over to their parents if uncle left you all some money. Colic 19 followed up with, my parents can't touch the money. Only my siblings can withdraw it when they turn 18. My sister will be 18 in a year and a half and I've explained to her that she's going to need it for college. Hopefully, I was able to convince her. Salba Jim chimed in with, make sure you bring it up again when her birthday is imminent. They have a year and a half to brainwash her into believing it's the right thing to do to sign it over. HickTL reacted with, they demand your money to finance their life decision, but somehow you are the selfish one. Hell no. It is incredibly selfish of them to expect others to finance their decision in life. It is incredibly selfish to expect your siblings to give up their teenage years and help raise their child. I could go on. The Big Bad reacted with, what happened to your brother? Hopefully, he got out of there. Colic 19 followed up with, he'll be staying there till the lockdown is lifted. I'm glad he's there actually, as he can be my eyes and ears for what's going on over there. Shumknife chimed in with, did they ask him to give up his money, or just you? No one needs to provide for their choices. I'm just curious considering the differences in the way you were treated. Colic 19 followed up with, his inheritance has already been spent on his college expenses. Parts 2020 reacted with, I'm not against people having kids or big families, but your parents are irresponsible. They're hiding behind religion to have children. I hope your college goes well. White Wolf Dreamer reacted with, your parents remind me of my cousin. Had 5 kids and lost all of them because she never worked so she could take care of them. There's nothing wrong with wanting or having a lot of kids, but if you can't afford to raise them properly, then at the very least you can try to avoid having them. Wind Your Neck In followed up with, a married couple we are friends with adopted the guy's nephew because he had been taken away from his sister, because of drugs and prostitution. At the time they weren't yet married and neither planned to have a kid for years. 3 years later they get a call from the hospital that there's another baby of hers, and would they want to take him in. They did, and they love him dearly, but they will never stop being angry about the fact that some awful irresponsible biatch is out there making their family plans for them. Datadog chimed in with, over a decade ago one of my cousins had like 7 kids living in a shithole 1-bedroom trailer. She had no carpets or flooring, just bare wood, all the furniture was broken. Everything was covered in human and animal excrement. One of the children was severely disabled and she had the younger kids taking care of her. Just heartbreaking stuff you can't bear to think a mother would do. Of course, all her children were taken, after years and years of CPS calls, and still to this day. She maintains they're still her children. They've all been adopted and have no contact with her. They are her little blessings, and that she never did anything wrong and wants to have more. She will never see any of those kids again, and I pray she will never have another. It's disgusting the way people treat their children as mere accessories or an excuse and keep popping them out like it's nothing. Some people are just evil. I don't know. And finally, Zinfandel for me reacted with, I am concerned about 16-year-old sis becoming a nanny too. My younger siblings were born when I was a teen. A lot of child sitting fell on me and not my older brother. I was seen as unoccupied because I spent a lot of time writing, drawing, etc., and for me, meeting with friends was not a scheduled obligation. My brother participated in outdoor activities, band practice, etc., and was out a lot. My mom didn't work, but when I got home from school she was eager to pass the babies to me and go out with my dad, run errands, etc. Sometimes this was supporting my brother's activities while I babysat. I have to say that I don't think me being a caregiver was healthy for me or my baby siblings. I did not have the emotional maturity and patience needed. I was resentful and cold towards them because of the frustration I felt for being forced into child care and a lack of control I felt for my own life. Eventually, I became more empathetic and realized my siblings were innocent in their part and my frustration was misplaced. All of my siblings are adults now and I love them dearly, but I do look back with some confusion of what the heck my parents were thinking deciding to try for more kids back then when we lived in a tiny household and lived very modestly. This age before a young adult sets out for college is so important. It's not the time for them to be a nanny. It's the time to figure out who they are and what they want to do. Also, it is an important time to develop social skills and personal boundaries. Maybe little sis can move out with big sis or get a roommate. But even so, then the nanny role will fall on the next oldest. Run, girl. Run. Well, there you have it. A perfectly great set of reactions from a bunch of upstanding citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. He must have found more stories for me to share with you. See you soon.